different institutions are at different stages of adopting AI. So, how can they move from experimenting with emerging technologies like AI to using them at scale to support learning and engagement meaningfully? Do you have any advice or strategies to share on that point?
I think it's one of these cases where AI technology can mean so many things in so many different contexts, and there's so many ways of it integrating into the teaching and learning experience. I think when carefully used as part of a teaching and learning experience, you know, the potential is huge, right? It can provide constant feedback. It can personalize the experience for different individuals. Like this is technology that people are working on that maybe isn't quite where it needs to be, but there's a trajectory that we're on. But I think the challenge is that students are using that technology, and if they don't have an alternative that's better for them, then they're probably going to default to the thing that's not as good for them. And this is why I think it is important to experiment with tools that aren't just about the instructional experience, but they're actually there to support the learner themselves for independent study, kind of what they do outside of the classroom. And there are various companies, we're one of them, but there's many out there who do want to solve this problem and do want to focus on understanding the challenges facing learners, understanding how technology, if we go back to first principles, we can rethink how we actually support certain activities or learning processes. And so I do think it's important for institutions to not put the blockers on experimenting, but actually proactively try to find these tools, trial them with students, and then understand, the impact, understand the feedback from the learners themselves. I do think that when it comes to learning engineering, so that's kind of a new discipline that's emerging that combines human-centered design, learning design, and then using data and engineering to iteratively improve solutions. That is something that I think is going to become increasingly important. And I think what is going to incentivize companies such as ourselves who are designing solutions is for there to be, you know, pretty high standards in terms of what educators want from their learning tools, because that will mean that companies need to develop to meet those standards. But of course, that shouldn't be done in isolation. I think it is about collaboration, and we're at a time where collaboration, is easier and more important than ever.